Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I'm joined here with super fans Heath and Riley Goldman, and this is the Week 16 recap of Jungle Talk.
Hooray!
Woo! And hey, I know it wasn't the way we thought it would be after the first half, but we still get to. It's still a victory horn, and we did clinch a playoff spot.
Didn't sound like it.
And we did here. I'll give you more quack. We did clinch a playoff spot with the Jacksonville win Thursday. We kept charge of the North because we would have lost that today if we didn't win. But another week of a tale of two halves. I mean, if there's one thing we have to learn from today, when you have a chance to step on a team's throat, do it. We had
never heard you say that, have you, brother?
Every game.
And I said the same thing. I walked into the kitchen to drop off the stuff, that I'd accumulated during the game, and I said it was a tale of two halves, just the reverse.
Right. This was our worst second half since Cleveland lost 8 weeks ago.
It was as bad
we've had great second halves.
It was as bad as the second half as it was a good half. The first half.
So let's go through the notes. I mean, let's take it half by half rather than doing good and bad. So first of all, I don't want to make this an issue. We'll put it out of the way right now. Don't get on McPherson. Kicking was an issue today for both kickers. If you're a golfer and you've ever played in the wind and you're trying to hit a ball, even if it's just a 50 or 100-yard shot and the wind just takes it, that's what you saw the balls doing on both kickers. So I don't want to hear. I saw Facebook stuff with Money Mac, really, and all that. It's like, guys, clearly weather had a factor there. So that's done. But great opening drive, right? We were off to a great start. We're leading 22-0 at half. It could have been 28 or 31. We had Mixon's TD wiped out by a holding penalty. That just led to a field goal. We had getting intercepted, Boyd not going for the ball, leading to that cost us points. I mean, we could have easily been up more than 22. It was that kind of a first half.
I have to hope that lack of attempt at the ball by Boyd was really him just going, you know what? I'm already playing with a surgically repaired finger. I don't have a chance at this ball, but I just hope it, because it was I don't even want to say a bad attempt. There was no attempt.
No, there was none. And so it was one of those things that if you're feeling that way, then don't be in the game. I'd rather see Irwin in there. I'd rather see Taylor in there. Heck, Irwin almost had 3 touchdowns today. There was the one that Burrow missed in the second half, but I just, like I said, it was one of those. Boyd came back in. Boyd did catch passes after that. So, but yeah, don't go out there if you're not going to go for it. Burrow was sharp. First half, he was dropping dimes in the double coverage. I mean, he was on fire.
Well, you say in the first half, and I don't disagree with you, but the one thing I was talking about with Riley, there were some bad drop passes here that really ended the runs, didn't get us points. Irwin's fingertips. Chase had one fingertips. Higgins had one at the fingertips. Well, I guess, it did hit the shoulder pad on Chase, but
right. Well, he let it get to his shoulder pad. That was that ball. That was another point of where we would have had more points. That was a drive we didn't score on. That could have been a touchdown.
I didn't say it to Riley because when I got home last night, he was already in his bedroom. Watching LaMelo Ball last night against the Lakers, he's got so much talent. And you look at them at some point, and you're like, why aren't we playing 100% every single play? I felt that way watching Chase today. He just seemed to be just a little nonchalant in his actions. He's that good. And that strip sack at the end, the drop pass. I mean, there's just things where I looked at him and like, okay, let's just go 100%. I know you're that good, but I don't know. It bothered me, and it bothered me last night watching LaMelo play against the Lakers.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about all that in the set when we cover the second half. Just to wrap up on the first half, I mean, 303 yards, 27 or 28 completions in the first half. I mean, that's the most this year. I don't know what the record is for a half for completions. That's not attempts. I mean, he attempted 36 passes, 28 completions. He has basically game stats at halftime. 28 of 36 for 284. That could be your game stats. That was at halftime. I didn't print out the second half, the game stats, for because our blunders in the second half had to do with the interception, this freak tip ball play. I mean, it wasn't like New England got sustained drives on us the whole time. For those, my daughter had surgery earlier this week, so she can't speak right now. So that's why she's not joining us. But I said to her at halftime, I said, the only way we lose this game is if we help the Patriots. We have to play them back into this game. And that's exactly what we did. Let's jump to the second half. That pick six, I know it's a miscommunication with Chase and Burrow. Burrow thinks he's going to break off his route and he's throwing it to a spot. Chase keeps running, but we literally just I'd rather see Burrow throw the ball away. I mean, but like I said, we played them back into it, and I looked right at my daughter and I said, we just gave life to them. It was 22-6 at that point. The only good thing to happen there was the kicker missed the PAT, which showed us that it wasn't Evan, it's the field, the weather.
I said the same thing to Riley at that point, and if you go back and rewind and look at the play, on CBS, we were able to do it. It's hard to do it on DirecTV or the Sunday package.
Right.
But if you go back and look at that play, Chase was standing there by himself. I mean, I don't know what happened. If somebody, you look there and Chase is like, I'm standing here wide open.
But the problem is that there was pressure and Burrow had to throw it. He couldn't wait till Chase got to his spot. So I think it's similar to the punt where Gio blew it last week. Gio didn't pick up whatever the read was that brought in the fake. Chase was supposed to read pressure and know automatically that he's breaking off on his route. Burrow's throwing to a spot because Burrow just drops back, sees the pressure, throws to that spot, and Chase is, still running, and the DB comes back to the ball. So it's just, I think it's a miscommunication. It is what it is, but that breathes life into them. So we had chances. Even after that, we're driving. And we don't put the team away. We drive. We miss the field goal. I mean, we had so many chances. In the first half, I was talking to Katie about, hey, I would love to get through the third quarter and rest people. And we just that obviously that never got there. Thank goodness we escaped today. Oh, and then let's talk about we play good defense. We knocked the ball down. And Jacoby Myers catches it and takes 2 steps into the end zone. I mean, it was like, really? And there we are, only up, the 10 points at that point. So just kind of insane. It was a crazy game. Nothing's easy with this team. Yeah, you want to relax. Believe me, if we had lost the game, I'd be drinking something a lot harder than this bay water. But
we have to bring up losing Collins when we did.
Yeah, I was saving that for the end.
Through, especially in that second half, that Burrow didn't have as much time as he did in the first. And you can only blame it on losing Collins.
The penalty was on one of the platoon linemen that wiped out the Mixon touchdown. Mm-hmm. So that's why we only got 15 instead of going to 18. And
actually, Mark, if I'm not mistaken, it was the extra lineman that they brought in. It wasn't Adeniji who filled in for Collins. It was the extra lineman who came in to put the blockage. It was the tight end. Let's talk about one other thing that really drove me crazy. I understand how great of a quarterback Joe Burrow is and how great of an audible quarterback he is. How did he not change the play on the 2-point conversion when the box was loaded with 30 people? They came out of the stands to get in the box, and we still run the ball straight up the gut. I didn't understand the play call.
I could say the same thing on the 4th down where we went, or the 3rd down where we went for it, and Burrows just stood up, and I was like, why do we keep trying to run it? This is the strength of their defense. Why are we doing that? We weren't successful running up the middle at all. I mean, why on the quarterback sneak? We got one quarterback sneak, and Burrow kind of snuck off to the side and fell forward. That was the only one. But I could make the same argument, so I agree with you on that.
One other thing that really bothered me is that effort, or said differently, the lack of effort by Eli Apple. And I know I gave him a hard time last on the preview show, Jake corrected me, and you know what? He has been very serviceable, but he did not make an effort of coming back to that ball. That could have been an interception right there that changes the whole complexity of the game as well.
Yeah, I said
It's
the
the
same
little
thing.
things, like you always say, it's the little things.
Yeah.
It's the situational football. And you know what? We can win a game in Foxborough playing that way. You're not going to win a game in SoFi Stadium when you know in a Super Bowl when you make plays like don't make the plays like that.
Or in Buffalo or in Kansas City, because we still need help to get the 1 seed. So, you know, if we can, and we could, if we beat the Bills next week, jump up to the 2, but we need the Chiefs to lose a game. And if you look at their schedule, I don't see a game they're losing. So, you know, because we can beat the Bills and give the Chiefs back the 1 seed, but I don't see the Chiefs losing 2. We need the Chiefs to lose a game in addition to beating the Bills. So we need help to get to the 1. So we may wind up playing, and you're right, we're not going to get away with that in Buffalo or in Kansas City, you know, in a playoff game, a divisional game, or a championship game.
Riley mentioned, hold on one sec. Riley mentioned Lyle Collins. I will tell you, and I'm starting to say this every game, you are seeing some horrible whiffs by our left tackle. I mean, some of the ones that, I mean, it wasn't like he just got beat. He just flat out whiffed. And I'm starting to wonder if he is really the answer at that side. You know, this O-line has definitely gelled, but I don't know if he's the answer out there, Mark.
Well,
I'm curious what your thoughts are.
This was one game. It was super cold. And he was facing Judon. With the work that he did against TJ Watt, I like I said, I don't like to put too much weight on one outing. So we've played very well. Our lines gelled well together. And I just hope that Collins, it's not a major thing. That's more of a strain. We get a little bit of extra rest, but we'll have to see how it plays out and whether we have him, you know, available for the Buffalo game.
As serious as that could have been, if it is something that you think is serious as a medical, you're not letting him walk off the field on his own.
No. So I think
that gave me some hope that, you know what, I've been that player before where you get that play and it takes you out and it's more scary than anything else. It may be strained. I'm just hoping that obviously it's not much, but it can be very scary when that hit comes on that side of the D.
He got the brunt of the guy's body on his knee from the side, but he didn't move that much. So, you know, like I said, it's whether or not he felt the pain or did you hear a pop, you know, that kind of thing. And we don't know. But yeah, you hear the pop, you're on the cart. So hopefully, you know, he'll be ready. We do have, because we're playing Monday night and we're playing today on a Saturday, that's 2 extra days.
Right.
So maybe we have him for the Monday nighter in Buffalo. We'll see. The last thing I wanted to talk about was on the chase ball. This is another chance where we had they got the freak play. We're moving the ball, right? And then Chase fumbles the ball. Once again, you're talking about him not being there, you know, 100%. Chase fumbles the ball. He had, if you watch that play, Burrow had a choice between Chase and Perrine. Okay, so he's got Samaje short. If that's a shorter toss, and Samaje just walks for the first down. Chase had 2 defenders on him. I know he was open. He had one behind him and one in front of him. But if he had thrown it to Perrine, that's an easy play. We don't fumble the ball. We just put the game away, you know? So.
I mean, with that, Perrine has been known to drop a ball at the end of a game. So it's, you take to Jamar, who more or less we can blame on the cold for a drop or 2 of this game, but then that one needed to be brought in.
Yeah. Well, it's Judon. Like I said, we know Judon very well from his days at Baltimore. So he, you know, we're no stranger to him. And a guy's a great player. He makes plays. We had a 3rd down. This was on the drive where McPherson missed the field goal. But we had a 3rd and 2, and Judon got hurt, and they stopped the clock for him, so he had to leave the field. And I thought, well, okay, I'm not rooting for players to get hurt, but if you're going to leave for a play, this is a good play for you to leave off. And we ended up converting the 1st down without him there.
Something else that we saw in the Cleveland game, something else that we saw today, something else that we saw a couple games ago, and I don't remember who we were playing. When we get the pressure, but we don't get the tackle or the sack for the loss, these quarterbacks scramble, and next thing you know, it's a tip pass to the end zone. Jacoby Brissett did it a few times. Whoever we played 2 weeks ago, I mean, Mahomes, he can do it to anybody, but it just drives me crazy when you can't get home and your D-backs are covering forever. I understand that that's part of the game. You can't cover forever, but it's happening over and over. We got to get home and take that sack.
Yeah, it was ironic because the play where they got the tip ball TD, we almost got to Mac Jones from the backside.
Yeah.
I mean, it was another quarter second and they hit his arm. We could see the rusher. I'll have to watch the shortcuts and when they come out later this week. But you see, I remember there were several plays like that, but it happened on that play where we were just that close to getting the sack, and it turns out to be that the tip ball, a mini immaculate reception. I don't know, but so if before I forget, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Just hit that button. We don't ask you for money. Just subscribe. Hit the bell so you get the alerts, and give us the thumbs up. It really helps us out with the algorithm over at YouTube. So please help us out and hit the thumbs up. Hey, we got away with the win. Hopefully we learned something from this. Like I said, when you have a team on the ropes, put them down. Quick step on their throat when you have the chance, because we did not do that today. So situational football, just make the plays. There were several opportunities where we turned the ball over. This is a game we were lucky to get away. We got the late fumble, but we gave away 3 times. We lost the turnover battle today.
Thank God I got my little buddy here that I get to watch a game with, because if not, I don't know. Some things could have gotten broken today in the house. I mean, it was, and it's funny. I didn't say it out loud to Riley, but I was thinking about you and Jake in terms of what you called the score. And I'm like, oh, dude, at halftime, these guys weren't even close to the score. And
really?
we were both really close to the score.
Yes. So yeah, I kind of got there for the wrong reasons, because I said that we'd be way ahead and they'd get a junk CD at the end. That was not the case, but yeah, ultimately, I was close. So 22-18, I'll take it. But listen, we escaped with the W. Hopefully we learned some things. We don't take stuff for granted. And when we go from there and march along, we've got the closing, the big stretch run here. Bills, Ravens. We can for sure be the 2 seed if we win those 2 games, because we can knock off the Bills, then they'd be tied with us. Chiefs would be back in 1, and we would have the tiebreaker with the Bills for 2. But we've got to win both games, so it's in our hands. And then with a little help, maybe the 1. But
we're going to Buffalo though, right?
No, it's in Cincinnati. We got the last 2 games are in Cincinnati. This was our last road game of the regular season. So
I gotta say something, and I'm sure that we're gonna get a thumbs down on this comment. Don't go thumbs down, just put something in the comment line. I do not love going into the playoffs on a 9-game winning streak.
You just worried that we're due to lose, or?
I wouldn't. Today was not the right game because we were up. I don't want to get our asses kicked next week, but taking a hard-fought loss would not be the end of the world right now.
Okay,
I am a huge Bengals fan as well.
I know you are. Listen,
but we just got to look at sports. You're going on a 9 run. You have to then win. If we go in 2 right now, we then are 13. What is it? 4 games. 13 games in a row. It just doesn't happen that often in the NFL. That's what would have to happen if we win these last 2. Because we're 7-0 right now.
But I want to give you a team,
please,
that turned it on right after the bye week and went on a run and didn't lose a game and went to the Super Bowl and won it. And that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady. They look like they were good. They're going to win their division. They're not being tested. And they came out after the bye week and that defense, and they rode that all the way to the Super Bowl. And they won some big games in the playoffs. So it can be done. And I also want to point out that today was almost like a loss in terms of the wake-up call. I mean, you almost bungled the game today. We played them back into it and then almost lost the game. Without that Reader strip fumble, we could lose today. So maybe today's game, even though we got the W, was that kind of kick in the pants so they don't take things for granted. There you go. So, well, like I said, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. We are the Monday night game on January 2nd in the Bills. Funny how scheduling goes, you try to pick them, and how many times at the end of the year we get a bad Monday nighter because you can't flex out of those. And this one, the schedule they pick, that's the best game of the week. That's a AFC
Could be one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, that's an AFC championship or divisional, depending how it goes out. Preview. These teams could meet in the playoffs, and they will meet numerous times going forward in the future. The Josh Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, these three quarterbacks are the premier quarterbacks in football right now. And there's going to be a lot of battles, so they got it right. So we have that, and we'll be back with the preview on Thursday of the Bills game coming up. Jake will be there. Heath, I don't know if you're available Thursday, what your schedule is. Love to have you, and we'll do that preview. And like I said, please subscribe. You got any closing comments before we? Oh, and a Merry Christmas. I even broke out my Bengals Christmas hat for y'all this week. So
yeah, Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. May it be a happy and safe one. Let's just go get prepared, and hopefully we'll get us a nice present later on today or tomorrow that Lael Collins is only day to day. And Hendrickson didn't have the game that we kind of expected him to have. Probably trying to nurse that game, but he did get some pressure when it was necessary. He just didn't get home the way we're used to him getting home. So let's just get everybody healthy and let's make a run at it, and maybe we'll see each other in Phoenix.
There you go. I blocked out the time. I fully intend to go to the Super Bowl. We will be there if they get there. So with that, I'm going to say hoot everybody and have a happy Merry Christmas. Take care. Hoot.